According to the American Cancer Society, roughly 2 million new cancer cases and about 600,000 cancer deaths are projected to occur in the United States this year.
Over the course of the last 70, 80 years, we've actually seen a lot of progress in cancer treatment. Starting back in the 1940s, we saw the introduction of chemotherapies. And chemotherapies were able to kill cancer cells well, but they were very indiscriminate, and so they killed healthy cells too, causing lots of side effects for patients. In the 1990s, we saw the introduction of what are called targeted therapies. And for the first time with targeted therapies, we were actually able to target a patient's specific tumor or cancer type with our therapy. And then in 2010, we saw the introduction of what we call immunotherapies. And with immunotherapies, what we were actually able to do, we were able to use the patient's own immune system and actually boost it so that it could help a patient fight off its own cancer. Over the past 20 years, cancer mortality rates have been trending downward, which is a great sign, and largely because of these new therapeutics that we've been able to introduce. So we continue to want to improve on the mortality rates and see patients cured completely of the cancer.
While substantial improvements have been made against cancer in recent decades, new cancer cases and death rates remain high throughout the United States.
So historically, developing new medicines for cancer patients has been really quite difficult. It takes a really long time and it's quite expensive. Importantly though, the medicines that have been developed to date have been developed to delay cancer progression and not cure. Cancer biology is actually quite complex, and cancers are quite good at developing resistance to medicines over time. Therefore, one medicine is rarely enough to eradicate or even suppress tumor growth. And oftentimes, even when effective combinations are given, the remissions and responses to treatment are quite brief in duration.
As technology and innovation continue to move the industry forward, resulting developments in new cancer therapies are helping to improve patient outcomes.
Innovations in cancer treatments are very important because they can use that as a platform to develop other new treatments for cancer patients like myself.
Cell therapy is when we use living human cells to treat a patient's disease. The most simple version of cell therapy is something we're all familiar with, a blood transfusion, when we take patients' cells and we actually use them to save another patient's life. Cell therapy is incredibly promising for cancer therapeutics because it allows us to target both the tumor very specifically, as well as to use the patient's own immune system and harness that power to help it eradicate their cancer.
In 2017, CAR T-cell therapy was approved in the United States as a novel treatment for cancer. Some scientists believe it may hold the potential to cure cancer.
CAR T cells are a living medicine derived from living human cells, and we engineer them in the laboratory to do things that they've actually never been able to do before, most pointedly to eradicate and cure cancer.
The impact the CAR T have in me, on patients like myself, is that number one, it saved my life, and it also is giving me the opportunity to work with other patients and give them hope because CAR T work, and it's a revolutionary way to treat cancer.
We just went from being told that the father of my daughters has 6 months to live and there's no options for him. Everything has already been tried on, and obviously it didn't work. And to go from he's dying to now he has a chance to 2 months later coming out of a hospital in remission, but I'm definitely glad that we took on the chance because 7 years later, here we are.
Today, the focus is on the discovery, development, and commercialization of new cell therapies to target different types of cancer and bring curative outcomes to more patients of cancer.
Developing CAR T cells for cancer patients actually presents several important challenges. First, identifying the right targets and the right genetic changes to introduce in CAR T cells is quite complicated. Secondly, the manufacturing of these new medicines requires quite a bit of infrastructure, resources, and expertise that is quite rare.
We believe it's incredibly important for researchers and developers to be commercially conscious because patients are actually waiting. But we all know that we can't help the majority of patients until we can actually get all the way through the clinical trial stages and commercialize a therapy to get it out to the most patients that need it. And when we're thinking about how we design our clinical trials and how we move through the different phases of development, we're always mindful of the patient and how quickly can we take ourselves through development to be able to get to the patient that needs these therapies.
Bringing the promise of cell therapies to life for patients with cancer will continue to improve outcomes for more people in the future.
It's really important to continue on developing and improving because it's going to minimize side effects on cancer patients. And with that, it's going to be able to have better chances to be healthy and to have a quick recovery.
When I began my career in cancer development, I was told that I would never see cancer be cured, that cancer was actually too smart. I've been incredibly fortunate to be able to see patients cured of their cancer with cell therapies. I am truly optimistic and believe that with the continued research and development in cell therapies, we're going to see more patients with cancer cured.